Hello there, YouTube and various other video sites that this video ends up on. So, it's a new year. So, happy 12/0/23, assuming you're following the Holocene Calendar, which is the calendar you should be following, because it's a more accurate calendar for the human race, as it were. If you want to get a true idea as to the expanse of the human race and human history, then the current year is 12/0/23. It's the same as the Gregorian calendar year of 2023, just with a 1 in front of it, an extra digit. And that might sound like a lot, and it is a lot. It puts into perspective just how many years we ignore as being pre the modern era. And I think that it's a good idea to acknowledge that. So I use the new Holocene Calendar. There's a great video actually from, I believe it's, I can never pronounce the name. It begins with a K. But it's a YouTube channel. I'll throw up a quick clip so you can see what I'm talking about, where they've got their calendar. They started it back in 2017, which they called 12/0/17. And they've been doing it ever since, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, I have been reading and playing some games, not much, but I've been doing a little bit. I've been most recently reading a little bit more Lovecraft, been reading At the Mountains of Madness, been enjoying this, been reading quite slowly because I've not been able to read more than about 20 minutes a day. There's a reason for that. And I've been playing a little bit of this. This is a new game I got for Christmas, Steel Rising. Been enjoying it. I did come across a glitch where it's kind of a Soulsy style precision action game. Precision action is the name I give to what people call Soulsborne, because I hate giving genre names based on the name of a previous game. So precision action, I think, is a good description. It's an action game that requires you to be precise in your dodges and strikes. That's a good description for the genre. So precision action. It plays very much like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something along those lines. It's a lot of dodging and striking at the right time, watching for attacks coming in, watching for telegraphed attacks, and planning to dodge past or through the arcs of attacks. So as something's swinging, you dodge under the attack to behind the enemy and then attack them from behind. That kind of thing. Very, very simple idea. Very well executed. It's not perfect. There was one glitch where their equivalent of the Dark Souls bonfire, which it's like a large chair in a statue that comes out of the ground, just stopped working, and I couldn't access it. I had to restart the game in order to access it, but it auto-saved, so it wasn't a big problem. I didn't lose any progress. It only happened once, but it's a problem. Hopefully it'll be patched out soon. That aside, I've not been doing a great deal. I did start playing Mass Effect, because PlayStation Plus gave it away for free in December, so that's been fun. Started a character. I've played around at the beginning section of the game. I've not done too much. It reminded me just how much I really enjoyed Mass Effect as a universe. I've only played the first Mass Effect game. I got very annoyed with the sequels. But Mass Effect is a game that I've thoroughly enjoyed. I really like that universe. I like all different aliens, all different worlds and the lore. I think it was a very, very well-told world. And it had enough richness that it had the potential to be so much bigger than it was. The sequels, I felt, diluted that lore a lot. So I wasn't impressed. But that aside, I have a reason why I've been playing less video games and why I've been reading less this month. I have kind of fucked up my eyes. Now, I've been aware that I probably needed glasses for a while. The last 6 months, I've noticed a slow deterioration in my eyes. My eyesight's just been getting worse and worse. And it's not unreasonable that I would need glasses. My dad wore glasses. My mum recently, the last decade or so, has been wearing glasses. My sister wore glasses since she was a little girl. My brother's wore glasses since he was, at least high school, maybe a little younger than that. So I was the only one in the family that didn't wear glasses. I'm going to need glasses. My eyesight's much worse than I thought it was. It's not so bad. I can quite easily, with a fairly mild prescription, get back up to 20/20 vision. There is another problem though, and it's completely unrelated to the need for glasses. I was getting a lot of headaches, and I was noticing that I couldn't read the title of the books on my bookshelf on the other side of the room, which is why I went to the opticians. But about a week ago, I hit my head on the ceiling. I'm 6'6", so I'm quite a tall guy. And my computer desk is positioned underneath the stairs, because where the staircase is in my living room, I've moved the furniture around to make room for the new sofas. And I didn't realise that the slope for the staircase runs around my desk, and it goes down to a slope, and my monitor is up against it, and then it slopes right down, and all the plugs and the computer and that is all in the little cubby at the end of the stairs, which it's fine. It's a good space for it, because I can't really fit anything else there. Now, I'm at the far end of that, so the stairs are right at the highest point, but it's still slightly lower down than the ceiling itself. Low down enough that I can hit my head. I stood up, not aware that the ceiling is a good 6 inches or 8 inches or so lower than it should be at that point where my computer chair is. Stood straight up, smacked the top of my head quite hard. Turns out, hitting your head can be very dangerous, because I have torn the retina in my right eye. I didn't realise you could do that. Now, when I hit my head, I didn't feel nauseous, I didn't feel dizzy, I didn't knock myself out, didn't lose consciousness at all. I wasn't even really in that much pain. It was a bit of a shock, but I felt okay. I was a bit startled. I thought, okay, I'm fine. Had a bit of a cut on my forehead where I scraped my forehead against the top of the stairs, but there was nothing too serious. I thought, it's okay, I've hit my head, but I'm okay. I really should have gone straight to hospital, because if I'd gone within 24 hours, there was a chance they could have stopped any permanent damage. There is permanent damage, and there's no way I can stop that now. The damage to my peripheral vision is permanent, but it's so mild that I can't see it. The damage to my peripheral vision in my right eye. Thankfully, it has not damaged the centre vision, so I still have 20/20 vision at the centre of my eye if I'm wearing my glasses, or at least I will once I've got my glasses. But I need to get this sorted, because the retina has pulled away from the back of the eye, and if it comes away completely, I will go blind in my right eye. And this is a very delicate membrane, which means that if I jostle my head too much, if I hit my head again, if I was to shake my head violently, if I was to roll around violently in bed, anything like that could be enough to dislodge it. So I've been referred to the hospital. I will hear back in a few days, and I'm going to have to go in for emergency laser eye surgery. And frankly, this is terrifying. I mentioned in my video to Brian Lee Durfee, who has gone through much of the same stuff as he's been losing his eyesight, and he's been dealing with the reality of going blind, that one of my biggest fears is losing my eyesight. And the idea that I could be risking the eyesight in even just one of my eyes is legitimately leaving me on edge. I feel truly terrified. There's not many things that I worry about to that degree. Like, I don't really have the use of my legs. It doesn't bother me all that much. I know I'm probably going to end up in a wheelchair very soon. I walk with a cane. I can only go a few yards before I can't walk any further. The only reason I don't use a wheelchair is because buying a wheelchair is expensive, and I don't go far enough to really need one. I can move around my house enough that I don't need a wheelchair. If I needed one to move around the house, that would be the only reason I'd ever get one. And then I'd have to change the entire layers of the house, because you couldn't get a wheelchair in here. And that's the way it is at the moment. My eyesight is different. My eyesight is something I use daily. I'm always on the computer. I play video games. I watch TV, and I read books. I use my eyesight for every hobby that I do, that I engage with. So the thought that this eye, like, I can see comfortably with this eye. In fact, it's my better eye. Like, this eye it's a worse prescription than this eye. This eye can see more clearly, and this is the one that has the torn retina. The idea that any harsh strikes or any roughness of any kind really could cause me to lose the eyesight in that eye, it's a scary thought. So I'm gonna have to be careful. Now, I've lived like this for about 8 days now, and I think 8 or 9 days since I hit my head. It was just before Christmas, and it's been fine. So I should be okay, because if it was serious enough that it was going to deteriorate, it probably would have done so within 24 to 48 hours, they said. So it's probably not going to get any worse any sooner without any further damage, like without another strike to the head. But they need to sort this out as soon as they can, and the bit of the retina that I've already damaged is just damaged now. It's not repairable. So I need to get this sorted. I need to get this sorted quick. It also means I can't get my glasses until this is fixed, because they're going to have to fix the retina before they can prescribe me any glasses. Then they're going to have to do another eye test to make sure that my prescription's fitting. I can still read, but I can only read for so long before I end up with headaches. I've been told to take it easy, which means that by doctor's orders, I am limited to no more than an hour reading a day, and ideally less than that. Same with video games, no more than an hour. TV is okay, because it's not quite so straining, so long as I'm not overdoing it. And I shouldn't use a computer for more than 1 to 2 hours a day. And ideally, combined video games, computers, and reading no more than 2 to 3 hours a day. That's what the optician said, and that is not a lot. And also to avoid using my phone as well, for the same reason. This is a pain in the arse. So I am having to ration my reading time right now. I get to read for an hour a day. I get to play video games for about an hour a day and use the computer for about an hour a day. And I'm already not doing that. I'm already overdoing that, because I'm spending time on Gilded on my phone, answering people and chatting. I've already spent at least an hour on Gilded today. I'm already kind of breaking that, but I'm trying not to, because I know I can't afford to put my eyes under too much strain, and I know that I can't afford to keep getting these headaches. So I'm gonna have to be careful, and I'm gonna maybe look at giving audiobooks a try, because I've got my Kindle tablet. I can set that up with an audiobook, and I can sit and just lie down in bed, and I can just listen to a chapter or two from an audiobook and see if I can try to get to grips with that. I've never really got on with audiobooks, but hopefully I can give it a try, and I can see if I can get over that hurdle, because I think that would be a way for me to still engage with something, still do something with my time, without straining my eyes too much. But yeah, that's been the last day of 2022 for me. Or 12/0/22 to use the Holocene Calendar. It's been one hell of a year. This last year has been probably my worst year to date. My health has deteriorated. My weight has not gone down, even though I've been trying to maintain a diet. I've been trying to exercise. I just can't lose the weight. It's been very difficult for me. My pain levels have been up. My migraines have increased dramatically. My eyesight's deteriorated, as I've said. My lung capacity's down. I struggle now to walk around. And I have been very obviously in a state of depression for months. It's one of those things where you know that you're in a state of depression only when you're coming out of it. It's something that family members have spoken to me about, where they've said that often you can be in a state of depression and not realise until you're on the way out. And then you look back and you see all the signs that you were blissfully unaware of. Well, not necessarily blissfully, but you get my drift. And the emotional strain of this year has not helped. This last year was a year of loss and death for me. We started with the death of the Queen, which was not unexpected, but was still an emotional roller coaster for the country, and it was a loss that was felt. It was a part of our identity as a country, and it kind of tore the country apart a little bit. And that's, of course, I'm glossing over one of the biggest losses. It didn't affect me directly, but the Ukrainian war, of course, has been this year's biggest loss for so many people, and it's caused hardship for so many. It directly caused the cost of living crisis and the energy crisis across Europe. So that's been really hard for so many people. Obviously, I don't have any connection really to Ukraine, but I felt the strain of the cost of living crisis, and I've definitely felt the energy costs rising. My benefits haven't gone up, but my bills have definitely gone up. My gas bill, my electric bill have skyrocketed. My food bill's gone up. So I've definitely felt those. So the country and society as a whole was really reeling from loss and struggle for a long time. And then personal loss hit. And for me, it was the first time having any real personal loss. Because I've never had anyone close to me leave. I've never had that loss before. And the death of my dad is something I still haven't really fully dealt with. It's still not something I've really approached. Like, I've had Christmas and he wasn't there for it, but it didn't really feel quite like Christmas, if that makes sense. It felt kind of like a quasi-Christmas, if that makes sense, because Christmas snuck up on us. I didn't decorate for Christmas this year, and it wasn't because I didn't want to, it's just because November and December felt like they sped straight past. So it doesn't feel like the end of the year even happened for me. It just feels like the year went on fast forward for the last couple of months. And it wasn't a mark against anyone I spent Christmas with. It felt different and it felt weird. But it didn't feel like a loss, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like there was a gaping hole. It didn't feel like we were doing Christmas and someone was missing. It just felt like we weren't doing Christmas. It felt like we were doing something else at a different time. And it wasn't just that either. My dad was an unexpected but dealable loss, because I can look back on his death as one that I can rationalise. I can see that he lived a full life, and I can see that he had a painless death. He died unafraid, and he died sleeping in the care of medical professionals relatively quickly, relatively peacefully. It wasn't stressful, it wasn't strenuous. I can take solace in that. It wasn't the only loss at the end of this year. And this year has got much, much harder for us. With my sister's fiancé having lost his sister a month later. She was only in her early 30s, and it was a far less expected death. that came out of nowhere, and it hit hard. The whole family were reeling from it, and it took my sister by surprise in so many ways. She was obviously still reeling from her own father's death, and then her fiancé has his sister die. So the end of the year for them has been those two trying so hard to be a beacon of strength for each other, and just hoping that they can cope with their own grief and each other's grief, and it has been a difficult year for them. I didn't really know her, so it wasn't a loss for me, but the stress and strain on my friends and family has been a noticeable dark point for the end of this year, and it has been yet more piled on to this year. And of course, like I say, this news now with the emergency appointment for my eye is yet another point of stress for me. I've been back and forward to clinics for most of this year. It has not been an easy year. So, yeah, this year in review, it's been hard. It's been a hard year. And I just want to get on and talk, just a stream of consciousness chat to the camera, and to let you guys know how it's going for me. I want to wish you guys a happy new year, but also to just get things off my chest a little. I'm not feeling quite so down. As much as this may be a bit of a downer video, and I know it's a bit of a downer video, I know that. I'm not feeling that down. I'm really not. I'm frustrated. I'm struggling. I'm aware of that. I'm very aware that I'm struggling. And that's a good thing, because that means I'm aware of the struggles I was unaware of before, and that means that I can start to work through them. It's always good when you're aware of the struggles that you were previously unaware of. I have had a happy week. I have spent time with friends and family. I have had lovely presents over Christmas, and I got to give presents to other people over Christmas that I care about, and I got to pass on a little bit of joy. It was a nice time, and I cannot complain at that. It was a lovely time, and I'm not going to dwell too much, because I can still see the good times and happiness that I've had, and I do still feel very much like I've been blessed. I've always tried to look on the good things, and one of the things that I like to remind myself, and it's one thing that I always want to project outwards, is that I am a rich person. It's something I'm always reminding myself, is I'm rich. And I'm not rich in the YouTube way, I'm not rich in the celebrity way, I don't have millions of pounds in the bank. But I do have a house to live in, and I do have plenty of food, and I have whatever luxury I really want when I want it. I don't have endless money. I don't. I have benefits. But I have benefits. I live in a country with a universal healthcare system and a robust benefit system that pays me to live a dignified life because of my disability. And that is something that so few places actually do. There's a few countries in Western Europe. There's Japan and South Korea, Australia and New Zealand, Canada, and that's it. And notice I left out the United States, because they pointedly do not. So, yeah, I'm a lucky person. There are not many places in the world that you can be and be me and still live any form of dignified life. I have access to the internet, and I can talk to people like you. I have access to all of all of the knowledge and intellect of the entire human species at my fingertips whenever I want it. And that's a wonderful thing. I have all the entertainment I could ever want. I have endless TV shows, films, games, books, documentaries, podcasts, all at a touch of a button or at all at arm's reach. I want for very little. There are things that I'd still want. I am still single. I would love to be able to settle down and raise a family. It's probably not going to happen. I'm approaching 40, and I don't really have anything to offer in a relationship scenario, so I'm probably not going to meet anyone who's going to want to settle down and raise a family, because they'd have to raise a family with someone who has no earning potential, because I don't. They'd have to be willing to raise a family with someone who has a physical disability. That's a big ask. So I'm not going to be able to offer much. I could be there for children, but I'm not going to be able to be very physical. I couldn't go out to a park and play with them. I could play with them physically in the living room. I could play games with them and things like that. I could change them. I could feed them, that kind of thing. But I couldn't go and take them to a sports centre. I couldn't take them swimming. So I probably could take them swimming, but again, I can swim, but would I be comfortable taking a child swimming? Maybe, but I'd probably want a second adult there with me just to be on the safe side. It's the kind of thing that I'd want to think about. Like, do I have the energy to look after a baby, for example? Would I be able to be there for the sheer number of hours a baby needs? I have chronic fatigue and chronic pain. I sleep a lot of the time. I can't just leave a baby there and just not give it attention. So that's a question. And I think it's a very good one. It's something I would like to do with my life, but it's something that it's a big ask, and I'm not sure that it would be fair to ask someone unless they know what they're getting into and could go, yes, I'm up for that. That's something I want, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because I see something worthwhile in that future. I'm not sure what that worthwhile is, and that's why I'm not actively seeking it yet. I still feel there's things I need to build up myself before I can put myself out there. And that's a good thing, I think. I think it's good to build yourself up before you put yourself out there. I think if I can build up my health, if I can broaden my horizons, if I can read more, if I can experience more, if I can lose some weight, if I can improve my general physique, if I can make myself more of an appealing person to be around by improving my physical situation, maybe that'll be a future that I can have. I'm very lucky that I'm a guy. I can still theoretically in my 40s raise a family. If I was a woman, I couldn't. It's a very unfortunate reality of biology that women don't have the option to raise a family in their 40s whilst men do. That's a cruel reality, and one of the few privileges of being a man that is genuine gender privilege. Maybe it'll happen for me, maybe it won't. Who knows? But it's a goal that I'm aiming for. There are things I still want. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But like I say, I'm very lucky. My whole point was I'm lucky. I still have things that I'm aiming for, goals I'd like to achieve. But the fact that I can still seek those out, I can still do those, I can still have social interactions, I still have so much that I can do, is a nice experience. There's a lot of people out there that don't have what I have. So I feel very lucky. I'm going into the new year with a renewed sense of renewal. And I'm going to hopefully be able to build myself up. So that's my aim for the new year. Anyway, I'm going to stop being so self-indulgent with this video. Because that's what this video has become. It's become quite self-indulgent. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't know what it'll be about yet. Because unfortunately I can't really read as much as I'd like to. So I can't really make too much bookish stuff. I do have plans to make some bookish content though. And I have plans on how I'm going to approach bookish content that I think is going to be very interesting. and I'll cover that in another video. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.